Welcome to tonight's Master Talk. Dr. Mike Reed from Chiropractic Masters. I have a very dear friend of mine, a former CMI client, and who I believe is one of the foremost people in functional nutrition, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So tonight's guest is Dr. Natalie Beauchamp from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Natalie, welcome.
Thanks. Hi, Mike. You're running away from the cold, aren't you?
You're darn right I am. So just to introduce Natalie, because she's got quite the profile here. She's a chiropractor, certified personal trainer, professional natural figure bodybuilder, a wellness consultant, lecturer, local TV personality. You've published a book, Natalie, Wellness on the Go. It's Your Life. You've also are the creator of Roadmap to Wellness, an online coaching program which is designed to teach clients how to live a wellness-based lifestyle. You're also the founder of your annual Ottawa Wellness Expo. And I mean, you don't stop. I thought I worked crazy hours, but I think you do. And on top of all this, you have a busy practice. And let's talk about what you've just accomplished, Nat, because you just told me you just got your certificate. I want to give you a high five and really announce this to the chiropractic world, because it's
I do feel like I've been hiding for the last two and a half years. So basically what I've done is I've done my certification with the Institute of Functional Medicine, and I just got my result, and I'm now a certified practitioner. So pretty happy about that. Flashback from board exam, I tell you, that was not fun.
That's gonna be like nightmares, right? You probably didn't get a lot of sleep.
Oh, it was awful. But the good thing is my English is so much better that I could actually understand the questions compared to, back in the days when I was in chiropractic school. But so that's what I've been doing. And alongside of doing this, I've written another book. So it's called Hack Your Health Habits. And it's in formatting right now, and my graphic designer told me that we're probably going to be at 600 pages. So I went all out. It's quite the brick, but I just couldn't see myself cutting short on different things. So it's called Hack Your Health Habits because people on the call all know that most of the time either patients are really confused when it comes to their lifestyle, or they know, but they're not implementing. So I've come up with 3 levels of hacks, level 1, level 2, level 3, and I give people examples and, really, call to action. So I've got a section on hormone, a section on gut, a section on brain. Like and I try to really make it interactive. So I'm really excited.
And I know you've covered everything in detail. So it's going to be just a quality piece that you're going to deliver to the.
Well, I hope. And I mean, I talk about chiropractic. I could talk about having enough, big enough why. I have a whole chapter on philosophy. I never thought in a million years that I would write on philosophy, but it's not something that people hear about. And I think us chiropractors, we spend a lot of time, energy in personal development. And I don't think people realize the amount of, the wealth of knowledge that we've gathered, throughout the year. So I just really wanted to share that. So.
Well, and I agree with you. I mean, I'm looking at your library in the background.
In the back, yeah.
my library's like that too. And I'm just looking at all my books. And I go, oh my gosh, I can't believe we've read all these over the years and how much information we have up in here, which is phenomenal. And, what's really interesting, Nat, is that over the years in practice, it's especially when you're adjusting your patients, you're getting great results. I've always believed, from a percentage wise, you're going to see great results with chiropractic, but there's this revolution going on right now in the wellness-based market. And years ago, I got so busy in chiropractic, people were asking me questions on nutrition, working out, and minerals and vitamins. I just delegated that to my naturopath, which is one of the best things that I did, so I can focus on chiropractic. And, we're not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, but you and I and another person are working on a massive project that we're going to launch hopefully in the spring. But there's a movement that we're seeing towards what I like to call functional nutrition. I hate the word functional medicine. It just makes me pucker. But, one of the things that I've always loved, and this is congruent with the lifestyle you and I live. We exercise, we eat organic, we eat natural, we eat clean, we eat our caveman diets. And when you look at the average person coming in, they're usually overweight, they're pre-diabetic, they're probably precancerous because of the acidic environments, they're full of inflammation, and these are precursors to a lot of the metabolic diseases, cancers, heart disease, diabetes we see today. And medicine is really dropping the ball because all they have is the meds. And you and I have seen this trend moving towards a functional nutritional perspective. And it's something you said to me. I'd like you to share the story. You were at a conference and you said you were the only DC in that conference of, I think it was 500 medical doctors. And you
actually, I might have, yeah, I told you that story. But
remember that story?
It was 800 people. So I got there. That was my first IFM conference and 800 doctors in the room. And I think the percentage of DC is, I want to say 5 to 7%. So it's not the norm. And I arrived late and I, find myself a seat and I'm staring at the screen and they're talking about heart rate variability and yoga and meditation. And I look around, I'm like, where the heck am I? Us chiropractor, we're used to talk lifestyle. So anyway, I got really excited, but that didn't last too long because the laundry list of things that they had to work or better heart rate variability, chiropractic care was not even on there. And I'm like, okay, you can't stand up now, you just, got here. But, that just showed me that, basically those doctors are open to it. They're looking for solution. It's just, they don't know what they don't know. So kind of, that was 2.5, 3 years ago. And I kind of made myself, a private, commitment that maybe I should be on stage teaching those doctors, or I couldn't stop thinking that Dr. Kent would be awesome to teach his subluxation and, all the research that he's done on heart rate variability. So it was nice to see that there is a movement and medical doctors are as frustrated as we are when it comes to lifestyle changes. So there's definitely a movement coming. And, when you read the definition of functional medicine, and I was like you, Mike, for the longest time, the word medicine just made me cringe, like just because of, what to me, what it meant to me. But now I'm looking at it a different way. And that's what people are used to use those terms. And us being, I'm being in Canada, we don't even call ourselves chiropractic physician, so it's very different, but it's exciting to see what's coming up. And to me, who else to lead that movement than us chiropractor? Now, I did the full certification because I didn't feel as knowledgeable as I should have been. Now I do. Now I know that I gathered enough knowledge that I can advise my patients. And the stuff that I've learned is the difference from, the Canadian healthcare system, the American, the tests that are out there that I didn't know existed. And I think, most medical practitioners probably don't. So it really opened up, to me, a revelation basically that there is not only just a need, but people are looking at those solutions. And I think my MDs are as upset as we are. I just went for my my annual physical the other day, and my medical doctor's daughter is about 16. She plays competitive hockey here in Ontario, and I asked her, okay, what is she planning to do? And her words, she says, I'm telling her not to be a medical doctor. So it's not easy. It's not easy at both ends. Some practitioners are rural, so they're challenged by the lower income and all of that stuff. So at the end of the day, I think we can make a big, big difference. And I kind of like to talk about that 80-20 rules that we all know, the Pareto rule, is that, I think by making basic changes, like cutting down junk food, taking a multivitamin, taking your probiotics, like the standard American diet, if we can clean that up, we probably will get a huge amount of results. But what happens is that other 20% that need more guidance. And I think this is where, functional nutrition or medicine, call it what you want, you need to have different tools in your toolkit to be able to help those people. Because is it gluten-free, dairy-free? Is it a FODMAP diet? Is it a plant paradox approach? Like, everybody's different. And I'll talk about that shortly in terms of what's new now. Toss in genetic and epigenetic. So you realize how it's not a one size fits all. And everybody is unique. Sure, if you make some, changes compared to, going to McDonald's and, 5 or 6 days a week from, eating at home, it's going to make a difference. But it's so cliche how food is powerful, but it truly is the difference. So again, it's exciting, and it's exciting to see that a lot of people are wanting to do that.
So, you know, here's one of the questions, and I hear this every time I'm out at a seminar, you know, and for the doctors who are on this call, you know, I'm a firm believer you can be a straight chiropractor where you're just focusing on the adjusting, and then you can have on the side in your practice that sort of functional nutritional component, which I did in my practice. I was still able to see high volume. I was able to focus on the chiropractic. I was still doing monthly power workshops where we had patients come out and listen on detox or energy or whatever it might have been, but I delegated most of that work to my naturopath, or depending on the state province, you can have a nutritionist in your practice to do this. But I found it of value. Not only was it great for retention, conversion, attraction, it put me into a blue ocean where it allowed me to have that different component. He's not just a chiropractor, he's got that nutritional component. And not that I recommend you have, you know, acupuncture and massage and PT, and you have multitude of different components to your practice. I'm talking chiropractic and functional nutrition, just those two, which I think really you clean up your environment, you change, you detoxify, you revitalize, and then you have the chiropractic component in there. That's going to add such a huge element to your practice and the growth industry where we're seeing it. So Nat, let's just talk about where, from your perspective, where you're seeing the movement. What are the needs of people out there, and then what is working right now in order for doctors who are listening, who are thinking of adding functional nutrition to practice? What's the direction that we should steer doctors to?
I'll answer that question, but I want to backtrack. So I you know, thank you for bringing the fact that, you know, people will say, oh, you know, I get that too. Oh, you're more than a chiropractor. And it offends me, to be honest, because I'm like, what's wrong with just being a chiropractor, right? But, you know, our patients are looking for those answers. And if they're not getting at your office, they're going to get at somewhere else. And I've been in practice 22 years this year, and we're competing for dollars with industry that were not there before. Like, people will drop $6-7 grand on personal trainer, but, you know, yet they'll have a hard time paying for other things in your office. So it's big. There's a lot of competition. So from that perspective, why not give to your patient the quality that they deserve? Because they may buy the vitamin somewhere else or what have you, but you don't know what they're buying. So to me, and seeing a difference too with our patients, you know, 22 years ago and now, a person's not reacting the same way. I mean, we can talk about chemical subluxations. I mean, if the terrain is not, you know, proper, they're not going to get the healing that they need to. Right. Now, if some chiropractors want to, and I raise my hat to chiropractors that keep digging, you know, to get better at their technique. It's fantastic, and we need more people to do that. And yeah, they can delegate that part, but some of us, you know, want to become more knowledgeable and integrate that. So the big thing with me, I think, in the office, chiropractic is first. Anybody that steps in the office, I start with chiropractic. I never do any lifestyle before they have at least, you know, I'd say 10 chiropractic adjustments under their belt, because I don't want them to confuse the probiotic or whatever with the effect of the adjustment. So I really want them to experience chiropractic. I mean, the ideal world, I would even wait longer, but some people are really ready to go. Then I'll integrate some of that. And just like, you know, you teach in your program, Mike, the different types of care. And I, again, after 22 years in practice, you can't sell, and I'll use the word sell, but, you know, sell something to someone if they don't want it. So to me, it's important that people identify what they want. So I do my doctor's report, I explain all of that stuff, and then I flatly ask people, what do you want? Do you want symptomatic? Do you want me to help you with your lifestyle? Like, you know, what do you want? And I have them kind of raise their hand, identify themselves, and then I put them into a process where I dig either very deep or not so deep, depending of, you know, their involvement or how much work they want to do. And then I have a health coach in the office. So she's also done her course through the Institute of, what is it called? It's in line with the IFM. So it's, they're working in congruency with the protocol. And having that is amazing, because I'm sure for the people that have been in practice for a long time, you get tired of holding people's hands. I will look at a case, I will make my recommendations, and then pass it on to someone that it's in her or him to coach and to, hold hands with the person and to make sure that they're going through all the steps. So to me, I see it as I'm strategizing to find the best solution for this person and then pass it on to someone that can do a better job. So I think, that gap that is between the patient and the practitioner, plus we don't have the time. And for me, I can, again, I'm putting my business hat on, is that I can generate so much more revenue being a chiropractor that it doesn't make sense for me to sit with a patient for an hour and charge, minimally. So again, I want to make it affordable for them. And if my health coach is very knowledgeable and can pass on the information, to me, it's a win-win, because you can make it more affordable for people to do that.
So let's just talk about, Nat, where the trends are going. What are we seeing in the rise in the need for functional nutrition? And what are the different protocols that, if you can or want to let the cat out of the bag, that people are using right now?
Oh boy, that's a wide question.
Because old school was, let's go to my nutrition shelf and see what you can afford.
Yeah, and again, one thing too is, I sell supplement, but you don't want to trade supplement and do a pill for an ill, and instead it's a supplement for an ill. You know what I mean? So to me, it's food first. So let's sit down and figure out what this person should be basically removing from their diet and adding from their diet. So, and again, you have to have the patient's commitment. Say, this is not going to be a quick fix. So, if you want the quick fix, we can't go that route. So I think the health history is crucial. I thought we did a good health history, but there's a tool called Living Matrix, and it literally takes patients 2 to 3 hours to fill their questionnaire. Were you breastfed? Were you vaginally delivered? Were you it goes through everything, and the patients get like a 35-page report on their step. But the cool thing, it does their health lifeline, if you want, and it shows what times in their life things have happened. For instance, moved into a new house, blah, 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 health started to go down. And then you start putting the pieces together. Oh, maybe there's mold in the house. Maybe there's, electrical lines or what have you. So it really feels for the practitioner like you're looking, you're kind of playing Sherlock Holmes to try to figure out what's going on with the person. And then you retell the story. Here's what's happened to you. And then that connection with the patient is tremendous. But when you do it often, you can still do that in a very short amount of time, and the patients really feel like they're understood. So there's no set protocol, because if somebody comes in with cardiometabolic issues, if somebody comes in with gut issues, there's different plans that we can use. And again, it all depends on how much effort the patient is willing to put in there. But that being said, I think measuring things is very important. So doing that detailed health history is fantastic, but people will value what they know. And that we want it or not, our current medical system is measuring blood. It's measuring, your white blood cell, your red blood cell, your B12, all of that stuff. So I think in terms of people sticking to a program, if you're able to measure their numbers before, and I'm not talking just about the basic test, but digging deeper and measuring the inflammatory markers, measuring, different things that are in relation with the condition that they're presenting, then you can show the path. I mean, food sensitivity tests. Like, I mean, there's so much that you can do. So I think in terms of compliance, doing those tests, especially, you know, if anybody's familiar with the DISC profile, if you got somebody that I see and is really analytical and need to see numbers, well, yes, they will feel better, but it's kind of nice to be able to see those process. Epigenetic and genetic testing is, well, epigenetic is obviously the effect of our environment, but genetic testing is really starting to be out there. You know, I've talked to you about Pure Genomics, which is the Pure line, and basically what the patient does is they do their 23andMe test. And then with Pure Genomic, as a practitioner, you have your practitioner platform. You can retrieve the raw data and import it in the platform, and it tells you the SNPs that that patient has. And SNPs are basically errors in our code. And what Pure has done is that they're only pulling out the SNPs that we can do something about it. So if it's showing that, you know, you have a SNP that doesn't allow you to detoxify properly, then you can, again, support with a certain diet or support with a supplement. Food first, you know, but sometimes we have some errors in our codes that it's a little bit more complex. For example, metabolic SNP that can tell you if you should be on a high-fat diet or not, because if you have, you know, the ADIPO2 SNPs, you're not able to metabolize more than 22 grams of fat at a time. So if you're going on this, you know, high-fat diet and that's all you're eating in high amounts, well, maybe it's not working for you, and maybe you should be on a different type of diet. So, I mean, and they keep adding, and it's fascinating. I'm having fun with it.
That's kind of interesting, because you could be on a South Beach or a keto diet, and you could be on the wrong diet. You think you're eating right,
yeah,
and then your genetics are saying, you know, hey, screw you. That's not how you should be eating. That's kind of interesting.
Or even, like, I know personally, I you know, the Pure Genomic has done a good visual. So if you're red, obviously you have the two segments that are not there. If you're yellow, that means you have one but not the other. If you're green, you're good to go. And surprisingly, I eat a pretty high fat diet, and I haven't changed that, but I've lowered my amount, so I don't take more than 22 grams at a time. And the other thing too that I discovered, I can't metabolize flaxseed into. So I mean, I was putting flaxseed like there was no tomorrow in my smoothie. So all those things that now I know that I'm still on a high fat diet. I still do intermittent fasting, but knowing that, I was able to tweak. And I mean, I wasn't feeling bad. I didn't have lack of energy, but, you know, again, we're all doing this for longevity, and we're doing this to decrease inflammation, because we know that there are the chronic killers that we have now. So that's what's out there. And then on top of that, like, that wasn't enough. Newer company, I should say, called Viome, viome.com, if people want to check it out. Basically what they do is they evaluate your gut, your metabolome. So you send a stool sample, and with artificial intelligence and the research and the studies and all of that, they're supposedly, I've done mine, but I haven't gotten my results. They can tell you with your microbiome what food you should or you should eat. You know, so again, talk about personalized medicine, if I may, because it's dialed in to you literally. And like I said, with artificial intelligence, you just keep adding that stuff. So I think it's important that we stay current with that stuff, because again, as chiropractor, our mindset is not attacking the issue with drugs. So I'm kind of excited about it, and yet a bit scared at the same time, because all this new technology is fantastic, but in whose hand is it falling? And like I said, I'm pretty happy with the what I've learned with the Institute of Functional Medicine, but there's other organization. And for instance, you know, metformin supposedly now is a drug that a lot of people take in terms of prevention. You know, your definition of prevention, my definition of prevention is not to take metformin to control your sugar, even though it may make you live longer. So, you know, there's that part that obviously there's some uncertainty, but the more we know about this, the more we're involved, the more we're at the forefront, we can give it our message and our you know, our approach, basically.
And I love it, you know, Nat, and that's what I love about you is you're always reading, you're staying on the cutting edge, you see what's coming out. And, you know, the big issue is, you know, I want to emphasize with the doctors that are listening into this master talk is you can still focus on volume chiropractic and you can have this happening on the side. You delegate to your naturopath, your nutritionist. You can still be involved in the results. You can still sit down. You can still do group lectures. And you can still have that functional nutrition wellness component in your practice and flourish and still be in a blue ocean, which is really cool.
So, because like I said, like that, I mean, this is really personalized and that's great. But at the end of the day, people have to want to do it, have the time and commit the time to do it and want to pay for it because that's not free, right? But you can implement a lot of protocol in your office that are fairly general and people will still see the result. But the best come at diagnosing or figuring out the puzzle of this person and what happened and so forth. But again, that's one thing that I've said for so many years. As chiropractor, we have no tools, right? It's listening to the patient, our head, and basically our hands. So I think chiropractors are amazing diagnostician because we don't rely on tests. So we've developed that, I think that inborn intelligence that tells us, you know, what's going on with a patient. But now having that skill, add some, you know, tangible tests. And it's not just for us as the clinician, it's also for compliance for the patient because that's their world. That's what they're used to, a blood test, right? So it's having those tools. You're just talking their language a lot more. So
Nat, let's open it up for anyone who has a question out there. I see quite a few people on the call. If you have a question, just put a note in the chat box or you can just raise your hand and I'll open up your mic and you can talk to Natalie. But Nat, if anybody on this call wants to get a hold of you, send you a quick email, how can they do that?
Quite easy. My name, Dr. Natalie. Natalie is with an H at drnataliebeauchamp.com. Beauchamp is BEAUCHAMP.com. Or type in my name in Google and I'm in many places.
Yeah, I know you're a social media queen as well. So, you know, Nat, it's always been on the forefront. Should I just stay chiropractic or move wellness? I know you and I are working on a massive project to really open this up for the chiropractic profession and really help bring functional nutrition to the forefront. Let's look at it 5-10 years down the road. Where do you see medicine? Because one of the things you said to me once when you were at this IFC, there was a medical doctor on stage and the MD had admitted that we haven't known what the hell we're doing. Do you remember having a conversation with me? And
Yes.
And we've said this for years, medicine is one of the leading causes of death in North America. The drugs aren't the way to go. The ones that are waking up in medicine are realizing that nutrition, diet, supplementation, detox, this is the way to go. And they're moving towards that, you know, and coining functional medicine. I hate that term. But where do you see us in 5-10 years down the road in the healthcare system?
As chiropractor, that's a good question. I know my big moonshot is to be able to change the healthcare system in Canada. So that's my big moonshot. How I'm going to do it, I have no idea. I really don't think it'll be through our current system. I think it's going to be a transition. And again, I'm speaking because I'm in Canada, but this probably applies to many different countries, is that some of it will have to be done through the system because people are not going to want to pay for their B12 or whatever. But some of it is going to have to be done outside of the system. So this is where, you know, we can come in and be involved in that process. And again, I'm not saying that from a scarcity kind of point of view, but we want to make sure that we're knowledgeable. If I go back 3 years ago, did I have the knowledge that I have now? No. Would I have been ready? I probably would have done an okay job. But I think if you want to go in that realm, you really have to, you know, study and hit the books again and figure out. But you'll be surprised how much we're already doing in our practice and our approach and so forth. We just didn't get, you know, all the credential or all the details about it. So I really think that there's room for us, and we have to step up, because like I said, I'm a bit scared where all this artificial intelligence and, you know, because at the end of the day, big pharma is behind it and so forth. One thing that I've learned too is that most MDs anyway that I encounter, like they have the best intention. It's just they're looking at it, or they were taught a certain way. And I'm not as mad at them as I used to be. And especially the ones that are, you know, opening up their minds and saying, okay, this, what I'm doing is not working. I need something else. I just had coffee with an MD that's starting in my area, that's starting to do the IFM conferences and so forth. And she's discouraged. She feels lonely because she, you know, she doesn't know where to go. And she's also scared because they have to follow certain protocols and certain things. So they have to cover their bases. Us as chiropractor, we're not licensed to prescribe, and we're not licensed to take people off drugs and so forth. So we don't have to worry about that. They have that to worry on top of that. So I think we're in a great position. And I think, you know, to integrate it even more into practice, I know I created online education, mini membership. So I record it once, I put it in a membership setting. I give access to, you know, some free stuff for patients just to make sure that they're getting the best results out of their care. But they want to dig deeper. I have those all available, because it's all about education. It's all about telling them why, making them understand. Because you can tell, you've got kids, Mike, you can tell them what to do, but if they don't see what the heck or why the heck you're asking, it's just not going to go. So I think the future is really into educating people, but I'm not saying one-on-one, you know, one to many, because like I said, you record, you know, a series of educational video and then it's done. You don't have to think about it. So, and again, I would love to see more chiropractors doing it. You know, we have Dr. Mercola that's been doing it for, you know, as long as you and I have been in practice. We've got Dr. Axe that's also stepped up to the plate. There's a lot of other, you know, chiropractors that are stepping up to the plate. And it'd be nice to know that a lot of these people are chiropractors, because we don't think the same way. It's in us. We just don't look at things the same way. So I think 5 years, 10 years, we're going to see more integration within clinic. We're going to see more patient engagement. Baby boomers are getting older. They have the revenue. They want to live longer. And like I said, I'd rather it's in our hands than many other hands that, you know, again, don't necessarily have our philosophy, and drugs might be more at the forefront. Not with, you know, like I said, with the Institute of Functional Medicine per se, but, you know, there's other organizations out there that don't have the same views, that's for sure.
I agree. Natalie, one more time, your contact information to the doctors that want to reach out to you.
Dr. Natalie at drnataliebeauchamp.com.
Natalie, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your innate wisdom and infinite wisdom to the chiropractors in the chiropractic world on this Master Talk. For those of you, this will be uploaded to the membership site and sent out as a replay. So Natalie, thank you again. Love and appreciate you for who you are and what you do. And
my pleasure, Mike.
For sharing with us tonight. Thanks, guys, for being on this Master Talk. Until our next Master Talk, Power Talk, or CA Black Belt call, keep practicing with passion. We'll see you all soon.
I'd love to have you subscribe, comment, like, and share this video with your friends. And don't forget to go to www.chiropractic-masters.com for more free practice building tools.